So welcome again, and we'll rest in meditation until 10 o'clock. So 5 minutes of meditating. So welcome again, and so Kathy, you're co-host now, and you can put up the prayer book. It's our tradition to contemplate the four dharmas of Gampopa. When I was training as a new monastic, we would ring the bell and recite the four dharmas of Gampopa as we called the monastery to come to the shrine room. So it's a profound and seemingly simple prayer, but it addresses the whole process of meditation. So if you can make it a tad larger, and we're missing part of the prayer, Kathy. I'm moving it up. There we go. Thanks.
So contemplating the four dharmas of Gampopa, grant your blessing so that my mind may turn towards the Dharma. Grant your blessing so that the Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessing so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessing so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, May they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha Most Excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha Most Excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha Most Excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. As earth and the other elements, together with space, eternally provide sustenance in many ways for the countless sentient beings, so may I become sustenance in every way for sentient beings to the limits of space until all have attained nirvana. As the Sugatas of old gave birth to the bodhicitta and progressively established themselves in the training of a bodhisattva, so I too, for the benefit of beings, shall give birth to that bodhicitta and progressively train myself in that discipline. At this moment, my life has become fruitful. I have realized my human life. Today, I am born into the family of the Buddhas. Now I am a child of the Buddhas. From now on, I will forthrightly perform the actions befitting my family. I will act so as not to degrade the faultlessness and discipline of my family. Just as with a blind man finding a jewel in a heap of dust, thus somehow bodhicitta has been born in me. This is the supreme Amrita which destroys death, the inexhaustible treasure which removes the world's poverty. It is the supreme medicine which cures the world's sickness, the tree which provides rest for beings weary of wandering on the paths of existence. It is the universal bridge on which all travelers may pass over the lower realms, the rising moon of mind which dispels the torment of the kleshas. It is the great sun which puts an end to the obscurity of ignorance, the pure butter which comes of churning the milk of the holy Dharma. For travelers wandering the paths of existence, seeking happiness from objects of enjoyment, it is supreme bliss near at hand, the great feast which satisfies sentient beings. Today, witnessed by all the protectors, I have welcomed the sentient beings and Sugatas. Devas and Asuras rejoice. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as a sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Good morning, and thank you for joining into practice today. It's wonderful to see you all, especially on a holiday weekend, and I know you have families who appreciate you and are enjoying you. So, we are on a wonderful exploration of meditation using Trengor Rinpoche's book, Tranquility and Insight, and Pema Chodron's book, How to Meditate. And this combination balances each other so perfectly and beautifully. So last week we were focusing on awareness experientially, looking at our mind as we meditate and seeing or attempting to see the nature of thoughts. And several people said, well, I can hear the instructions, but my thoughts haven't slowed down enough quite yet to do this. And now we go back to Trengor Rinpoche, who points out that is perfectly all right. Essentially, by listening to the teachings and contemplating the teachings, we're creating our own map, our own flashlight, in essence, to guide us as we progress ourselves in meditation so that we understand what's happening and where we are in meditation. And today we're looking at essentially the function within shamatha, an overall view of the factors within shamatha itself, not the faults or obstacles, but how shamatha itself works. Remembering that shamatha on its own is only part of the meditation experience. We want to have a settled and focused mind and then apply that mind to Vipassana. But in this section, what I like about it is he talks a little bit about how awareness and mindfulness function together and how they move the progress of meditation along. So he defines this as 6 powers, or let's say 3 things at once. The 6 powers of meditation, how those 6 powers enable the 9 stages of shamatha, and how the 9 stages reflect 4 kinds of mental engagement. So, this is standard, and you would find books on the 9 stages of meditation, and we've gone over this before, but how they link together is interesting, and the relationship of mindfulness and awareness is presented really beautifully. So it's actually Marpa who says it's like having your own torch. So you can see where you're going, you can see what is there when you're in the different stages, and you can see what might be harmful. So we're not wandering around bumping into things. We have a sense of the mapping, and we have a sense of, by listening to the teachings, and this is coming from the text tradition versus the oral tradition. So the text tradition of years and years of meditators mapped this out. And this way we have a sense of, oh, okay, I'm right here. This is a stage, and this is what I do to move this stage along to let it blossom. This is how I work within this stage. So the first stage of listening and contemplating is where we're moving from being able to hold our meditation for about 5 minutes to about 10 minutes. So just being able to hold a settled steadiness. And this is what's called the tightly controlled mental engagement. We have to be very alert, and we have to look at distraction when it occurs, and we have to remember the instructions. Oh, if my mind gets wild, I do this. If my mind gets sleepy, I do this. So we're learning how to focus the mind with a level of discipline, and we have to have an effort in this stage. So, this is actually quite an interesting part of the endeavor, and relax with this part of the endeavor, but just remember you have all the tools for this part of the endeavor. And as we relax and work with this stage, the further stages naturally open. We don't have to, break open the door. It's a natural process of understanding the teachings that we've heard and starting to apply the teachings that we've heard. So I think we're fairly familiar at this point with the stage, but the third power is the power of mindfulness. So we have the power of listening, the power of contemplating, and then the power of mindfulness. So mindfulness is not only remembering the teachings, remembering how not to get lost in the emotional dynamics, the drama of our mind, the narrative of our mind, but we're re-establishing the settled mind over and over. And so this is another type of mental engagement called intensified settlement. So we get it, we get that our mind is all over the place, we get that it's hard to concentrate, but now we're not so interested in the drama of everything, but we're more interested in what the settled mind feels like and what it's like to rest in that settled mind, and we notice the distractions as they arise. And it's called a narrowing of the focus because our minds are so wild and we have so many thoughts. So we're narrowing the focus in the sense that we're not paying attention to the wildness or lethargy or, wild emotions that come up, and we're able to see more subtly. So when we were doing the experiential meditations and when we were observing a thought arising, abiding, and evaporating, that's a much more subtle thing. And so this mindfulness that brings us back over and over again from distraction also helps us narrow our focus to see more subtly. The fourth power is the power of awareness, and this is the taming and pacification. And in this stage, we become aware of the benefits of meditation, the amazing benefits towards our own peace of mind, discovering our own inner joy, and with that understanding of mind, increased skill in benefiting others. And this awareness helps us in meditation and in our daily lives. We're aware all the time of the condition of our mind. What's happening? Oh my goodness. We're still at Vajradakini involved in the mold business, but oh my goodness, we discovered, let's say, more mold. Oh, I see with awareness, I can see that my mind is disturbed. I can see fear arising. I can see frustration arising. Awareness is knowing what's going on. And mindfulness is the power that brings us back to, okay, what is happening in my mind versus what is happening in the drama of the narrative of the appearances. So we get used to being more focused on maintaining the steadiness of mind in the midst of drama. And the mindfulness and the awareness are functioning together. So they're also identified as cause and result. Due to the mindfulness, we're aware of distraction and come back to meditation, and awareness arises of what is going on. The mind is wild, the mind is settled, etc., etc. So one is aware immediately with mindfulness of a thought arising, and this becomes awareness. One is aware of what's occurring. And the pacification aspect is that, okay, then we have an awareness of the negativity of distraction. So there's a drama going on in appearances, or what is going on in how we're experiencing the world. And we see, oh, I can let the frustration take over, the anger take over, the excitement take over. I mean, all we have to do is, for 1/2 a second, focus on the election, and we can see how easily the mind is flooded with negativity, no matter which side you're on. You get right into the dynamics, as opposed to all this is excitement. The thoughts are excitement. And if my mind is excited by thoughts about appearances, I'm not able to give rise to peace and inner joy, and I don't have the access to the capacity to skillfully benefit others. So Shantideva, our old friend Shantideva, describes distraction as being in between the fangs of wild animals. You imagine these two fangs of our emotional mind getting nuts about something, and our distracted mind with all of the thoughts arising. These are fangs that rob us of our peace of mind, of our inner joy, and of our capacity to benefit others. But the takeaway from this is how mindfulness and awareness are working together to move our mind steadily towards the capacity to tame the mind and pacify the mind. So I think you can see this in your own experience, how we work with distraction, how we are pulled away, how quickly our awareness is lost and we're right in drama. So the next power is diligence, and that's associated with the 7th and 8th stage of shamatha. So we're coming closer and closer to stability. And before this, we have just interrupted stability. It can be interrupted every half second, or it could be interrupted every 5 minutes, but there's always this reestablishment of our meditation. Now, in the later stages of meditation, we're connecting to a natural resting and a natural one-pointedness. So we're aware at the beginnings of these stages of distraction arising and coming back, but we're no longer pulled towards the drama. We're no longer pulled to the thoughts. And it's as though we have another description from Shantideva. Now we have a guard at the door of our mind, like a security guard at a bank, just really watching, not letting the robbers come in, not letting the thieves come in. Let's just test this. How many months is it to the election? Can we have a guard at the door of our minds every time there's a reference to the election and go, whoa, mindfulness, I'm going right back to steadiness, to taming and pacification, and I'm looking at, with curiosity, how easy it is to jump out at appearances. So then we come to the final power, familiarization. And So often we describe meditation with one word called familiarization of the mind. And we think at first it's just the obvious definition of becoming friends with our mind, seeing all of the obstacles, all the sticky thoughts, all the robbing thoughts, the wild emotions that we have. But familiarization is familiarization with the naturally settled mind. And now there's no need for any effort or discipline. We're in equanimity. And that is the 9th stage of shamatha, the stability of equanimity, and the 4th mental engagement of being naturally present. So I know these are several topics at once, but we can think of them as guideposts. Okay, there are 9 stages of shamatha: wild interruption, then lesser interruption, lesser interruption, lesser interruption. And then we cross over to, it's more about understanding the benefits and not being pulled so strongly anymore, because understanding the benefits is much more where our curiosity is leading us rather than curiosity about the drama. And then we get into stages of pacification where that curiosity doesn't have to be met with effort. We're not so much the guard at the door, looking in all directions all the time, trying to notice when a distraction or a fault arises. But there's that sense of the beautiful word equanimity, of whatever arises, it doesn't disturb the one-pointedness. It's an illusory arising that no longer has any power over us. There's a natural presence, a natural resting in awareness. And this is actually where meditation begins. Then, resting in that state, one can apply one's naturally present awareness that's now not clouded to the nature of mind, to bodhicitta, to vajrayana. But it has to be prepared and steady to open to these much more subtle investigations and much more subtle understandings. And now we have a sense of, today I'm in the medium interruption, or today after that beautiful 3 palms, my mind is settled and present. So it's in the rarely interrupted, heading into the pacification. We understand, this quality of the spectrum, and we can be curious and playful with the mindfulness and awareness in the kinds of exercises that we've been doing about, what is the nature of these thoughts? In equanimity and in spaciousness, I can see the thought and its nature. And we begin then to investigate, I can see thoughts, but what is the nature of awareness? So those kinds of investigations come with Vipassana. Okay, so think of this as something that gives you confidence, understanding that there are 9 stages of shamatha, understanding that you'll recognize them, understanding that they reflect stability, and that we're aware of the vastness of our mind, the capacity of our mind to be wild, and we have the skill of bringing that into focus. And when it's focused, then it can relax and open up again, because the wildness is no longer something we're curious about. We're curious about the subtlety beyond the wildness, beyond appearance, beyond narratives. So why don't we sit in meditation and just contemplate, well, what's my experience today? What's my experience of these stages? Can I recognize even the first stage and say, oh, this is where I am today? Or can we recognize the playfulness of narrowing the mind so the focus is on stability rather than content? Let's just rest with this in a way that's helpful for your experience in this moment. And returning, I think the importance of instructions like this is again a reminder that yes, we can use meditation to relax. Yes, we can use meditation for insomnia or to work with anger issues or addiction issues or trauma issues. But we can also use meditation to liberate. That our capacity is immense. And, these guideposts help us see, well, it's not just our weekly meditation a couple of times a week, but, looking at someone like Simone Biles, we could, become Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We don't have to accept limitations with this sense of, all of these different flows and things to pay attention to. We can open up to extraordinary understanding that really benefits beings with full wisdom, full capacity. Okay, so your thoughts or reflections this morning. Oh, first I'll do a dedication and stop the live stream. Bodhicitta, excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline and ever increase higher and higher.